All right, smack bang in the middle of the week. That's right, it's time for halftime on 6. Last week, Wednesday, Caster Semenya lost a landmark case against athletics, the athletics governing body, the IAAF, meaning it will be allowed to restrict testosterone levels in female runners. The Court of Arbitration for Sport rejected the South Africans' challenge against their new rules. But the Court of Arbitration said it had serious concerns as to the future practical applications of the regulations. The Olympic 800-meter champion said in response to that ruling that the IAAF, and I'm quoting, have always targeted me or her specifically. Semenya was eligible to compete at the Diamond League meet in Doha last Friday and can make an appeal against the courts as the ruling to the Swiss tribunal courts within the next 30 days. If you missed that race last Friday, here's a look.
Into the home straight, Semenya on her way to her 30th victory here. My word, is there any end to her talent? And she's just running away. Is this, as some people have suggested, something of an act of defiance given what's been going on? Look at the clock, 1:54.99. It's just outside the time of Paris last year, but it's very, very quick indeed.
We're living, a temporary life. So I'm not going to waste my time, focus on negativity. I'm just going to enjoy my life and then live it. You try to be in front of me, I jump you. So that's how life it is.
So last one, what happens for you now?
I keep training, I keep running. So it doesn't matter. If something comes in front of me, like I said, I always find a way to come, jump it, If the wall is built, it's like in the US, you build a wall, for Mexico. You always find Mexican in USA, so that's what we do.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck.
She beat them bad. Yeah, and she's obviously not on the IAAF and the Court of Arbitration of Sport. That race, however, may very well be her last, with the next Diamond League meet in Shanghai, China on Saturday, May 18th. Well, this Caster Semenya ruling has caused a lot of buzz internationally and locally as well, so much so that we decided on halftime tonight to gather a power panel to delve into the topic. So I'm pleased to have with me tonight, let me introduce you to my power panel. In the middle, smack bang in the middle, like halftime, is the thorn between two roses, Kairon Serrette. He's a senior manager for business development at the sport company. He's also a former manager of the national men's volleyball team, as well as Andrew Lewis. Still managing Andrew? Yeah. Still managing Andrew. Next to him is Antonia Burton. She is SporTT's strength and conditioning specialist, who is also a sprint and hurdles coach, and she's adorned in black. And in brilliant yellow, Jessica James, who is a former national 400 and 800 meter runner and a former Miss TNT contestant as well. So I want to say good evening to all you fine folk. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Good evening. Good evening.
I want to really start with a level of explanation. Someone who can dumb down the science behind what we are seeing blowing up into a bit of a political mayhem in the sporting world. Karen, I think you were nominated. Ms. Semenya, naturally, and I'm pitching what I'm getting from it. I've done some research, I've done some reading up on it. Has a very high testosterone level, much higher than ordinary, what is ordinary for women. She was told by the authorities that's too high.
That's too high.
Despite it's natural. For you to be able to compete with the rest of the girls, you got to bring that down medically. Am I correct in that assessment?
Yeah. That's as I said, in a nutshell, that's what it is. So, I mean, in terms of the research I've done, I don't think they've disclosed exactly what Caster's testosterone level is.
I saw some figures. It made no sense to me because I'm not so bright.
So what I mean, and anyone could go online and check it out. Yeah. What they're saying is that for males, the average testosterone level is between I think it's between 17 to 29 nanomoles.
For a woman?
Nanomoles per liter. The woman's average is 2.
Right, okay.
Right, and what they're saying is that for Caster to compete, right, she has to be at least 5, right? So they didn't say exactly what level she's at, but they're saying that she's probably within that range that is closer to that of a male, and for her to compete with the female, she has to come down medically to the at least 5 nanomoles per liter.
Right. She was born this way, Antonia.
She was.
She was?
Yes.
We have proof. I think ever since she burst onto the scene back in 2009, I think it was thereabouts, she was an anomaly. She stood out, but she was born a girl, raised a girl, turned into a woman, and is now competing at the highest level of track and field.
She was born intersex. Let's start there.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. I saw that phrase.
She was born intersex.
Intersex.
Right?
Yeah.
It is suspected that she has testes. I mean, no one has checked as far as my research. But it is also said she has no ovaries. So right there, I think it is not as simple as mainstream media is making it seem. You know, the headline just says, woman with elevated testosterone cannot compete. It's not that simple. I think what the IAAF is asking of her coming down to 5 nanomoles, that is still more than what a regular female can produce naturally. As Kairon said, the average range is 2. And we are telling her, well, not we are, sorry, IAAF is saying, you know, at least come to 5. That's still more than your female competitors, but it's less than where you're at right now. I understand the emotion behind it, you know, the features female movement, and that she was naturally born this way. And I understand that people are empathizing with her, but I'm not sure if people are empathizing with her competitors. And I think that's where people are not, they're using emotions on one end of the spectrum as opposed to the next. And I have a whole list of reasons why I personally agree with the IAAF.
Right. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But can you, before I go to Jessica, intersex, how simple can you break down for, I'm sure there are a few people hearing it for the first time. Intersex.
I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, intersex previously was phrased as hermaphrodites.
Right.
You know, the existence of her testes had never dropped. So that's where we're at with her, and that's why she's able to produce so much testosterone.
Yeah, so the suspicion is that she may have testicles.
Well, no one checked, so yeah.
Yeah, but that is it. But that has never been proven. Nobody knows that for sure.
And what I would caution, because that there's no real proof. And I think we just generally need to be careful, because it's a lot of media around it. I mean, there's just a lot of information. So people who are trying to decide or understand, or I don't want to say, just get a better understanding, you know, they're not sure exactly what it is. So one outlet might say, yeah, she, you know, it's intersex or whatever, but you know, another outlet might say, you know, well, there are a list of different, what they term DSD, differential sexual determination or disorder. DSD.
That's right. I saw it. Different sex development. Different sex development.
And you know, they talk about, from a genetic standpoint, what are some of the different conditions that could be as a result of that. You know, they talk about intersex as a wide range. There's also something called AIS, androgen insensitivity syndrome, which is another thing. You know, they talk about being a hermaphrodite, where when this thing first came out with, and a lot of the rumors started swirling with Caster, I mean, that's what people were just throwing very recklessly. Oh, that she's a hermaphrodite, but like nobody knew exactly. Nobody knew. So there are a lot of different categories of you know, genetic, I don't want to use the word mutations, but differences in how people's genes are that would lead to this. So, you know, some people are terming it intersex because I think one definitive report is that she has the 46XY, right?
Dumb that down for me.
Basically, XX supposed to be women, XY is supposed to be men.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of conditions where sexual determination is not strictly chromosomal.
Right.
So.
Right. Right. I got a headache already. I promised myself I was going to get a headache tonight. Jessica, you actually did this thing. You hit the track at 400 and 800 meters. So you know what it means to compete as a woman on the track at her events. Where do you stand on this?
Well, having conversations with my previous competitors, we must mention that this Semenya is an amazing woman. She's an amazing person. They would have mentioned that her personality is out of this world. Even in South Africa, she's known, she's like, everybody loves her. And despite what she's facing right now, a lot of people, they still support her. But what I personally do not think that the IAAF Federation, they're gunning for her. You know, I just think that they're trying to make sure that the playing field, you know, it's level as much as possible. So at this point, I mean, let's say if I, you know, was continuing to, you know, run professionally, it's tough because they would have mentioned that the advantage is that they was able to run personal best despite this situation, but it still was tough. And the disadvantage, well, you know, she would come through that first 400 meters in 55 points. If I was in that race,
You stop at the first 100, it don't make sense going to.
You know, 55 points, your gas done.
So flipping from now, do you believe, looking at her over the years, has she had an advantage over her competitors over the years?
She have an advantage. She have an advantage.
What is the advantage? I am really confused. What is the advantage?
So a normal female, we would train every single day. You know, sometimes you have to train twice. A professional athlete, especially when you're running 800 meters, the training program itself is out of this world. It would send you crazy, literally. But having, you know, let's say if I had a little bit of that, darling, what? I would have been running all kind of, no, I ain't done.
You want some testosterone?
If I get I back out. I back out. You know?
Chili's a big joke out there. Serious thing, you know. No, guys, so let me also get, and Karen, I don't know, the possibility of female athletes taking medication to increase testosterone illegally is also an issue. Let's deal with that. Because so Caster was born with it naturally, that has been proven. A female athlete like Jessica could decide, wait, if I can just get a little more testosterone in my system, I could do that first 100 faster.
But that has actually been my argument, you know. Well, not argument, let me rephrase, but I'm saying, okay, so I understand that no one looked at the health implications if she does start to take estrogen and lower her testosterone because it's natural. Then I'm saying, let's play devil's advocate. And we say, oh, here what? We're going to lift the ban on testosterone doping and allow the females to compete against her to raise to her level. You know, like devil's advocate. Because as it stands right now, she has a clear advantage.
You can see.
Let's lift the ban and allow her competitors to make the choice. Do I want to testosterone dope and to get to her level?
Antonia, that's some kind of crazy.
It is crazy, but it is also crazy. I don't know any athlete, because I was an athlete before I started coaching, who starts running track at 8 years old to come second or third, to fight for second and third. I know athletes personally, like, as Jessica, who said like when they line up against her, they fight for second and third. They know they'll never win. They're not gonna win. And it's disheartening for the competitors.
So Karen, what to both sides here, right? It's unfair almost to both sides based on what I'm saying. So it's very unfair to the Jessicas of this world who will not be able to come the gold medal out. As well as Caster, I did not do anything to increase. So it almost seems like how do we balance it out to make it fair for everybody? Almost seems impossible.
It is I mean, hands down, it's a difficult situation. And if you hear some of the commentary online, because when you're scoring online just to see, you know, who says what, so Michael Johnson has his view. You know, I was listening to Nick Simmons. I was telling these ladies before. Nick Simmons, a former 800-meter runner for the US. And he starts off by saying, you know, just like Jessica, you know, Caster is so lovely, etc., etc. But, you know, you know, IAAF needs a level playing field. And what I think was a dangerous rationalization of the whole thing is, he said, yes, it's discriminatory. CAS also acknowledged that it's discriminatory. Yeah? They also acknowledge that it's discriminatory. But in his assertion, right, well, you know, life is unfair, and if it needs to be discriminatory to the smaller group, right, then, you know, so be it. Paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said. And I don't, personally, I can't agree with that, right? You can't just decide, well, okay, it's a smaller group, so we'll be, you know, we'll be unfair to them, because, I mean, it's just, I think, yeah, well, exactly, no, exactly, exactly, and you know, people, and you know, I think we're going to stay clear of, because there are all other kind of parallels, people could talk about coming out of the situation, but in terms of what we see in here, I think that there needs to be more evidence to get a better solution, because even if you look at the CAS award, right, they sent out a media release, stating basically like what Antonia said, they're not sure how the hormone therapy is going to work, so you might have to stop. They're not sure about the restricted events, so you might need to revise it. So I'm saying you have all these not sure, and not sure question marks, but here you can't run, you know, your pet event, run something else, because we're not sure enough that your testosterone levels is impacting your race, so run something else or run with men, which, in my opinion, that is what I think is unfair. Yeah.
How do you level the playing field, Jessica? Because is there, I mean, Kairon battling with it a short while. How do you level the playing field? And what the Court of Arbitration basically decided, they took the bull by the horn. So who do I offend? The bigger group or this one person? Have you ever, before you answer that, you deal with that? Caster Semenya is all alone in this. Yeah. Are there any other women in your time? I was trying to see in terms of with this problem at this level. Have you known it? No. So she's all alone in this.
She's all alone. I think they would have tried their best, because they would have even mentioned to her that she could probably run the longer races. They still give her the option, and then I think they would have mentioned that even before, I think like a year or two, she was trying to regulate the hormones. I'm not too sure how true it is, but then she started to run all types of 205, and you know, the time started to go up to normal woman time on a bad day. So I think, you know, at this point, and I mean, she have a lot of role models, because you would have even saw transgenders, you know, coming through, and she would have motivated.
Because I want to get to transgender. Stop. We're taking a break, guys. Thank you so much so far. We are engaging this debate. It has become an international debate across all spheres of sport. Let's take a short break right here on halftime. When we come back, I have three wonderful folks battling out this issue to see if we can come to some sort of understanding at the end of it all. Come on back.
New year, new vision at CV Optical. Get up to 100% off, 60% off frames, 40% off lenses, complete eyewear with designer frame, transition with anti-reflective coatings, $12.99. CV Optical, affordable eye care for everyone.
The race to 14 begins with the 2019 All Fours Championship. Test your skills against the top teams from across Trinidad and Tobago. Can you ace the competition and defeat the reigning champion New Era? Visit TV6TNT.com for more information, or contact 623-1711 extension 1102. Win the prize money, win the bragging rights, but remember, always protect your jack.
All right, we're back. The Caster Semenya ruling has caused a bit of a stir over the last week across the international sporting sphere. So we are dealing with it here on Halftime tonight. Just before I head back to my panel, Antonia Burton, Kairon, Serrette, and Jessica James inside the house with me tonight. But on the line, we are going to get a bit of a legal perspective as we have Dr. Emir Crown on the line with us. Dr. Crown, thank you for joining us tonight. Good night.
Good night. Thanks for having me.
Let me first of all get your legal perspective on what has transpired based with the Court of Arbitration for Sport versus Caster Semenya. Where do you stand from a legal perspective on this matter?
Well, I mean, the court ruled that the regulations that the IAAF wants to implement are discriminatory. But a majority of the panel then went on to say that that discrimination is necessary to, quote-unquote, preserve the integrity of female athletes. So that's what the panel held. From my perspective, I don't see how this decision would stand at scrutiny or survive.
Dr. Crown, can you just reiterate one more time your position?
Well, my position is that the IAAF regulations are they're racist, quite frankly, and sexist, and they will discriminate on the basis of a health condition. So I don't see how people would.
All right, Dr. Crown, we got to get you on a better line because the panel is having much difficulty in understanding what you're saying. Let's try to see if we can get you on a better line, but let's continue with the discussion inside the studio tonight. Guys, let's, from a legal perspective, go ahead. Yeah, you're going legal. You were going legal.
Yeah, I was.
because from a legal perspective, it's an entirely different story when the lawyers get involved. And Caster, obviously, you heard her there tonight. She is not taking on this ruling whatsoever. Whether she plans to appeal, she's not taking this ruling seriously whatsoever. That's what, if I was to listen to her comments, she's moving on.
If I'm not mistaken, through the distortion, it sounds as if Dr. Crown was saying he's not sure that the ruling could stand scrutiny. Right. And same thing I said. I mean, you have so many what ifs, and agreeing from the cast perspective, agreeing that there's some ambiguity and it's discriminatory, but in the name of the fairness of the women's sport, you're gonna hold it. I mean, that's very dangerous. From one, going into how the issues with Semenya were discovered, right? You know, it was under the guise of a drugs test, because they was like, well, you seem to be running really fast. Let me just test you for drugs, and then it reached to this point. So it was almost like an invasion of privacy, but whatever. The next thing too is, again, from a legal standpoint, and what I feel Caster's lawyers may look at is they may want to bring a restraint of trade or antitrust lawsuit against the IAAF. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there because they're essentially saying the event that I make my money from, you are telling me that I can't run, and I should just run 5,000 if I want to run with females. No, you could run with the females, but in events that are not sanctioned by the IAAF, and events that are not sanctioned by the IAAF, and one other technicality. When in terms of the finance and the economics of the sport, you cut off my income stream. So you're effectively ending my career, and I'm not going to be able to earn a living. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe Dr. Crown, when he comes back, could answer to that.
Back on with us. And I want to just get Antonia's perspective, because Antonia is bursting.
Let's hear Dr. Crown.
Let's hear Dr. Crown. Dr. Crown, you're back with us? Yes. Yes. Let's get your perspective. Let's get your legal perspective on the matter, Dr. Crown.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, the Swiss Federal Tribunal, I mean, they have supervisory jurisdiction with the CAT. And from what I'm told, the decision will be appealed to that tribunal. And the tribunal tends to only interfere where there's a recent national justice or some procedural offender, or if a CAS decision is contrary to public policy. And I can't see how the decision is not contrary to public policy.
All right, Dr. Kairon, we are so saddened because unfortunately we're still not hearing you clearly at all, for us to be able to have a proper conversation with you. So hopefully if it is we can't join you before the end and we saw that line, or we will. If not, let's continue, guys. Antonia, take it down. I know you have a strong view and a differing view on the matter.
I mean, I will say though, the one thing I disagree with Jessica on is I do think she was targeted. Mm-hmm. The events that are proven to benefit from testosterone are the sprints and, you know, the more power-based events, the shot put, the discus. And if we look at the participants in shot put, for example, or discus, or any of the field events, the females look more masculine than, you know, the typical track athletes.
That's a fact.
It's a fact.
That's a fact.
If you also look at the individuals who win the shot put events.
Right. But you're saying, let me just see what you're saying. I want to make sure and follow you. So you're saying that Semenya may have been targeted, while these other athletes, the shot putters, the hammer throwers, were not.
Right. And I think when we look at the shorter distances, we do see females with the more masculine look. And it's interesting that Semenya was the one chosen to see the elevated testosterone. So I would say I think she was targeted. 800 is not a typical event where testosterone is a huge advantage. I think, flipping to the next side, her testosterone has given her an advantage. And I was making the argument with my co-workers that I think her advantage, unlike the short sprinters or the short putters, if someone does have elevated testosterone, they have not blown away the field consistently since 2009, 6? Yeah.
That's the difference.
Caster's advantage has taken her way beyond what anyone could even challenge at this point. And I think that is what made her stick out. That's my opinion on that. Yeah.
And your position, just to underline very clearly. No. because you, with regards to the ruling, Antonia.
Yes.
You're not happy.
My final thing on this, and I'll allow the other two panel members to speak. I know in Trinidad, locally, we have a lot of advocates for Caster.
Right.
In the sporting world and in the politics in the sports, you know. And my only question is, if Caster was in a contact sport, think of the implications there. If she was on the South African rugby team, and she faced off against the Trinidad and Tobago rugby team, and I coached the Trinidad and Tobago rugby team, and the girls are shorter than me and smaller than me, and Caster is, 6 foot something?
Big girl.
She's big, right?
No, she's 5'10".
5'10"?
She's 5'9".
You sure?
Yeah, she's shorter than me.
Regardless, right? A female with that much testosterone and that strong, let's say, in a contact sport, would everyone be as willing to sit back and say, allow her to compete?
Right. Guys, give me 1 minute, Antonia. You are just you will like Caster to follow the guidelines and medically decide to drop
No, I'm not saying that. Caster can do what she wants. I'm just saying, like, I am not 100% IAAF. Yes, it's okay. You see, it is discriminatory. It is, right?
Yeah. And you're leaning towards IAAF and
I am, because I can't empathize, like I said, with the competitors who have to compete against her.
Yeah.
I think the playing field is not level.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say, you know, well, Michael Phelps was proven.
Right, let's go there right away.
Right, yeah. Michael Phelps was proven.
You're jumping ahead of me. I like how you're jumping ahead of me.
Michael Phelps was proven. Legs. Not only that, he didn't generate as much lactic acid as his competitors. And
you said both legs longer than every other sprinter that he ever faced.
That's a physical, like, okay, not even going there, but I will say Michael Phelps, not generating lactic acid is actually a disadvantage as opposed to an advantage. Lactic acid is converted into energy. So Michael Phelps not being able to generate that lactic acid when he's training is actually a disadvantage. If you want to talk about his physical features, then yes, he was taller, yes, his feet were what, fatter.
And you know what you see with the physical features?
Not as,
Thorpe, a fellow reporter told me Thorpe's feet
were like fins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally wearing a size 20 shoes are here. So I mean, so that's obvious. By the time he do that, he gone. You can't catch him in the pool.
I feel like trying to make a parallel between physical features and hormonal and chromosomal.
Where do you? All right. So we now get. I think we got you clear. And I think that was important. I think that's important. Where do we stand on that? Because Antonia clearly is leaning towards siding with the ruling based on obvious reasons. Where are you, Kairon?
So Antonia made mention of a lot of things. One, in terms of the discriminatory nature of the restricted events. So if you look at the IAAF ruling, it speaks about the restricted events, which is the 48 and the mile, right? Why those things? As Antonia said, that sort of the increased testosterone is likely to affect those in the sprints more, right? Nothing was mentioned of the sprints, and shot put and hammer, nothing was mentioned, not even pole vault. One interesting case that people could also look at is the Duty Chan case. Similar issue. She is considered DSD. I'm not sure if it's 46XY, but she had a hyperandrogyny, genetic situation as well. Same thing. They allege that she was producing more. Duty Chan is an Indian sprinter, right? The same thing. They allege she was producing more testosterone, and she was competing. And in the same IAAF panel, they went to CAS, and the CAS ruling was that there is not significant evidence to speak to the rate of increase in performance alleged with the testosterone that you're alleging with the athlete. So
even though her testosterone level is higher,
they're saying the level
it doesn't impact on her performance.
I think if I remember correctly, I think they threw around a figure like 3% difference in terms of performance change. So you have a situation where some years ago, Duty Chan, who was in one of the races or competed in the races that would impact higher testosterone, would impact you more, was more or less acquitted because of lack of evidence, the kind of capricious nature of the ruling and so on. But now you have Caster Semenya, who's running 800, and you're like, nah, restricted events, you need to either take the hormonal treatment or run 5,000 or run with the men.
Jessica, did we get where you stand?
Yeah.
Did we get exactly where you stand on the ruling? Leaning towards Caster's side or the ruling?
I think for me, I totally agree with the ruling, because I am all about fair play. I know if I was still running professionally, I would have been scared. I would have been scared behind Caster Semenya because running, you already know how it's going to go down because
so
you don't have.
Let me flip the script on you. You're the only one here, other than Antonia, but in terms of actually seriously competing, if you were in Caster's shoes today, you know that you did nothing wrong in terms of illegal activity with regards to your testosterone levels, and the IAAF is telling you, listen, for you to run and compete and earn a living in the sport that you love, you need to get your natural self to a level that we require. Unnatural.
Yeah. So I would not only think, at that point in time, I would not think about myself. I wouldn't think about the money. I wouldn't think about what I would think about these girls who is behind me, because the sport would have taught us about sportsmanship, and you would have communicated with each and every one of us. And let's be real. You having this gift, and I call it a gift, because everyone is born different, having this special gift, and what I think what the IAAF wants her to do is to regulate it. And I would, just to prove a point that, I could do it at any level.
You would have sacrificed your career.
I would. I would.
Serious.
Well, what I'm saying is that not when it comes to this, I would want, this is me. I would want to prove a point that I could do it with regulating it or without. I'm still going to do it, but it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy.
We just have a couple of minutes, and I think we debated the issue. Pushing it a bit further, I think, was it you, Antonia, transgender?
No, that was
no.
That was Jessica.
You're passing that buck. Let's deal with it quickly. That's a reality now. This is the world that we live in, and I think Caster mentioned Donald Trump a short while ago, the President of the United States, and he made a ruling that he doesn't want any transgender people in his army. That caused a big debate in the U.S. If there's a transgender athlete, male or female, that pops up and decides, I want the opportunity to represent my country at the Olympic Games, what will the IAAF and CAS do?
I'm touching that.
Yeah, that's
I thought I brought a brave panel.
Well, let me be the brave one. Yeah. So, in all fairness, you know, I think that is something that is it's rising, and like, I think they should be given, you know, something special for them, because now if you look, a special category, because we're being fair now, because everyone deserves an equal opportunity, and you know, just as we have an equal opportunity to be whatever we want to be, I just think, you know, everyone should have their own category, because now they are doing it on forms, they're doing it, you know, look in the pageant, we had a transgender in the pageant, and she was gorgeous.
Yeah, but she didn't perform. She didn't compete in a transgender pageant. You know, it was a female pageant.
It was a female. It was a female, but she was given the fair opportunity to do so. Right.
So if I am a man and I decide that I want to be a woman, and I am doing what requires to be a woman, that is the reality, right? That is it. And I want to compete as a woman. That's who I feel I am. Where do we go there? Kairon, come on. Where do we go there? Because that's around the corner, I think.
It's around the corner. Thankfully, we're not in the IAAF panel.
We ain't been the corner yet. So we have to deal with that.
But you know what, it is, no, you're right. And Jessica, Antonia said, it's something that is definitely coming part and parcel. If you there are some transgender athletes right now in high school in the US running 100 and 200, and people are livid, you know, with the fact that they are running and so on. I personally, you know, I'm still developing my own views on that, so I won't touch it either. But so I would say
come back next week. Yeah, I'll give you all a week. I'll give you all a week. All right. Assess it. Think about it, Antonio. Think about it, Jessica. I'm kidding, but yeah, I think guys, it's around the corner, and it's a matter that has to be dealt with sooner rather than later. I want to thank you guys for debating the issue tonight and coming on. At least, as I said, an understanding of where things lie, and hope it forms public opinion intelligently. All right, we take a short break, guys. I want to thank the panel for dropping by tonight. When we come back, we delve into some West Indies cricket. Yeah, those boys are having an up and down time across in Ireland. Come on back.